Brian Martin, the Director of Customer Success at BizEquity. Welcome to part 1 of your onboarding video. First thing you should do is log into your unique white label. That's the link that you were sent in your welcome letter. There'll be a login button in the top right. As you see here, I'm logged into my own site. You see your name and home. When you log in, it takes you to the home screen, which is where you would go to start a valuation. But I'm going to take you on a brief tour of every section of our site before we run a mock valuation. So clicking your name brings up your dashboard. So in your dashboard, you have your company's console, which is where any companies you valued in the past will live. You can filter by company name, by date run, and trigger on and off, only showing companies that actually have valuation numbers. The next section is your leads tab. If you're a member of our Franklin Leads program, any leads that fit the profile you've built are going to appear over here on the left. These are available for you to purchase. Any lead over here on the right is a lead that you have purchased in the past. The next section is our Search for Prospects feature. Below that is our Success Center, content marketing materials. And then below that is our user profile. So this is where you would create your unique smart link, which I'll jump into in a moment, change any billing information, and see your basic info. So I'm going to click this home button and actually run a mock business valuation so we can go through the steps. So there are 3 ways that most of our users implement the BizEquity system. First, and the most popular, would be you would log in as yourself, like I am right now, click that home button, go through and actually type in the valuation figures yourself. People prefer this method because it gives them the ability to create a little bit of separation between them and the business owner, and it helps them review the data before they were presented to the business owner. The second most popular method would be you have the business owner in the room with you. There's a couple engaging steps throughout the way. They get to see in real time what their business is worth while you're entering the data. And then the third most popular way would be you can send that unique smart link I showed you earlier to a business owner. That gives them the ability to actually go through the steps themselves, type in all the data. Now what's great about that is you as the user would still control the delivery, so the business owner can't see the final report or any of the metrics on the dashboard. So first step is filling out company name, zip code, and then the NICS code for the business. So the NAICS code does not appear in the tax form, but we did make this a keyword searchable database. That way you can search for any industries that you're looking for, and this makes sure our system is using the appropriate multiples when valuing this business. What's nice is any information that's typed in can always be edited at the end or later in the console. So if you run a report and you realize you got the industry code wrong, you'll have the ability to go and update it without any trouble. So that's step 1. Moving on to step 2, we have a little bit more specific information about the business. So what we're looking for here is the business owner name information and basic contact information. This is for the business owner. But the main focus on this page should really be on the business structure. So how does this business register? Are they an LLC? It's a couple different tax forms they could use. S Corp, they would only use the 1120S. And selecting the appropriate tax form will make the next few steps much more simple as far as data entry goes. So we'll say this company was an S Corp. Now we're moving on to step 3. And this is where we'll actually start running the valuation. So as you see, we do request 3 years of financial data. We think our system is going to be the most accurate with the 3 most recent years. However, just for example purposes, I'm just going to type in 1 year of financials. As you see, once you have the revenue and pre-tax income figure typed in, you'll start to see the valuation count up top. It's one of those items where if the business owner is sitting in the room with you, they get to see in real time exactly how each of their financials actually affects the bottom line value of their business. So any item that you can pull directly off of that corporate tax return will give you this form icon right here. That's why we had you select it in the previous step. Hovering over the form icon will tell you which line or lines you can get the items from. The only answer that's not as straightforward as just items from the tax return is going to be this officer compensation tab. So this will take items from the tax return, but should also include any other add backs or ancillary benefits that the primary business owner is receiving. Almost everything else is just going to be straightforward. Hovering over these question marks will give you definitions of what we're looking for. Step 4 is all around the assets of the business. So as far as an S Corp goes, these will come all directly off that tax return. So as you see, as I'm typing in figures, that number up top is updating. Now there are two buttons that are available on every page. If you had sent a smart link to a business owner, these might be of interest to them. This Save for Later button lets somebody who's come in with a smart link save their progress and come back in later. So this gives them a way to almost bookmark where they've left off. The delegate feature is a little bit more popular, and this gives the person going through the steps the ability to delegate this out as a task to maybe there's an internal accountant they work with. Perhaps they have a CFO that should actually be going through the steps. So if you had sent a smart link to a business owner, this gives them the ability to collaborate with other people. Now, just like the business owner who clicked your smart link, these people don't have the ability to see anything in your console as our BizEquity user or see the final report. So you as the user will still control the delivery there. Moving on to step 5, this is the last step for just raw financial data entry. Comes on the liabilities end. For here, the most useful document is generally going to be a balance sheet or a P&L. Just sort of by nature, the liabilities won't be on the tax return. These are fairly straightforward. This is fairly straightforward information that's easy to obtain with the financial statements right in front of you. Then the last two steps are where it gets a little bit more subjective. So we're looking for projected revenue growth, and this is really for the immediate future of the business. So the next 5 years, what does their revenue growth look like? The long-term EBITDA margin, again, for the next 5 years, what is the increase if there is any? The percentage of business reoccurring, so depending on what NICA's code is selected, will depend on what effect this has on the business or how much of an effect it has. Do you have any intellectual property, including trade secrets or patents? If the answer is yes, we do ask for that value back in assets under intangible assets. If the answer is no, it's just no. And now we'll move on to the last step. So, what percentage of sales comes from your top 3 customers? If the owner of the business left, how would your profits and revenues be impacted? Does your current life or key person insurance coverage and risk management program cover the business valuation quotation above? So whether this answer is yes or no, it won't affect the actual valuation of the business, but it does help our BizEquity users transition this from not just a business valuation conversation, but move this into a sales conversation. And do you rent or own? So I'm going to show you both answers for real estate. Let's say this business owner owns their property. It's a $900,000 piece of land. They owe $150,000, and it's 5,000 square feet. So let's say this property is owned by this business entity. I'm going to check that. It's going to ask a follow-up question. What would true monthly rent be? Let's say $6,000. So now, up top, we have the estimated value of the business and the estimated value of the business including the real estate. So when the real estate's included, since we checked own, it's going to give us that separate figure. Now, a more common scenario would be the business owner may own their real estate, but they own it through a separate entity, a holding company, a real estate company of some sort. Let's check rent. Rent is paid to an entity that you own or are affiliated with. This asks a few follow-up questions. And now up top, you see we have this business value, the business value including the real estate. However, it did make a slight adjustment to the value of the business. Or if the business owner does not own their property, they just pay rent. We'll check this rent is paid to an independent third party, and now we just have the business value. So now the data entry process is complete. So when I hit save and continue, since I'm logged in, it's going to take me directly into the company dashboard inside the console. The only difference is if you had sent a smart link to a business owner, when they hit save and continue, they would receive a page that would say, thank you for filling out a business valuation. Someone will be in contact with you shortly. So in that case, if somebody has used your smart link, completed the 7-step process, and hit save and continue, you're going to receive a notification saying there's a new company in your console. How you would access companies in your console is you click your name, companies. So this is the My Company console right here. So I'm going to select this top one and we'll review the company that we just valued. So over here we have a brief, over here on the right we have a brief explanation of the company that we're about to click on, some basic contact information, and quick ways to access the report itself. Now I'm going to click View Dashboard. So this is going to bring me into the full company console. So up top we have the name of the company. Right here we have the equity value of the business. In the blue box we have where the business ranks in its NAICS code nationally. Green box is where the business ranks in its NAICS code locally. So within its zip code, in this case, it's the most valuable company of that in that industry. Here is where we can edit anything from step 2. We have the NICAS code, the tax form, number of employees, basic contact information. Now we'll get into the actual metrics of the business. So we have 12 key performance indicators to show how a business is performing versus its peers. So within its NICS code, this is a stack ranking using industry averages. So numbers in green means the business is outperforming its industry average. Numbers in purple means the business is underperforming its industry average. Blue means it's right at its industry average. And all of these boxes are defined. So if you have a question about what we're talking about, you can just click on these boxes. It gives you a brief definition of what these terms mean. As I keep scrolling here, you have the ability to update your financials or make any changes. So let's say the officer comp was incorrect. We fixed that. We'll watch the business value change here. So this also gives you the ability to keep these business valuations up to date. So you can go and do a projected year, or when 2019 is complete, you can go in and update the figures here to keep the business valuation as up to date as possible. You can adjust the sliders here. Now we'll talk about the client-facing reports. So the first one is going to be the insurance coverage estimate. I'm going to click this green button. This gives us, this generates the insurance value report. The first report I'm going to talk about is our insurance value report. I'm going to click download here. What this is a supplemental report that's available on some of our accounts. It takes the value of the business, so based on your inputs, your company is valued at about $2.6 million. Companies like you typically have the following coverages: buy-sell agreement, key person, and then a couple other supplemental pieces of insurance down here. So what this does is it takes the value of the business and says businesses that are typically of this value have insurance of this amount. And our users that do sell insurance find this report helpful because, one, they position it as third-party data. They're saying, not according to me as a salesman, but according to the data out there, companies of your size are typically insured this way. And it helps them position, other insurance products to make sure business owners are properly insured. The next report I'm going to look at is the business valuation report. So this is the 36-page report. It's intended to be a client deliverable. So up top, it's going to carry the logo on your page, presented by the user that was logged in and ran the report. So the first few pages are about valuation in general, our methodology, and some key terms. Page 6 is where it'll get specific for the business owner. So we have all 4 values delivered right here on one page: the equity value, the asset sale, the enterprise, and the liquidation, as well as the definitions. So we don't anticipate business owners knowing a lot of terms and valuation. We don't think they're going to be experts in that field. So all of the language and verbiage in the report is used for the benefit of someone who is not a valuation expert. As we keep scrolling here, we have a review of the financials, have a side-by-side look, and then the KPIs are going to look a little bit different since most of our users deliver this report as a printout. So we have, what does it mean? Why should it matter? Give me an example for all 12 of the key performance indicators. So this helps the business owner understand, why is this metric important? And then also a real-world example of how it's used. The report itself is a PDF, so the delivery method is up to you as the user. You can save it as a PDF and email it to business owners or your clients. If you'd like to have it printed out, you can print it on just standard paper. A lot of our users will have these printed as a booklet and stapled. I think that gives it a nice look, but really the delivery method is up to you. So one thing to be aware of is if you ever make any changes inside the console. So let's use the example of the officer comp, which we updated a little bit ago. Let's say it was actually $670,000. Now we'll watch the valuation change. Make sure you generate new reports to reflect those changes, because this report is going to be what the officer comp was before you made the change. So make sure you generate the new reports to reflect any changes you've made. If you do have a moment after watching this training video, go ahead and log in as yourself and run through all the steps I just did. As long as you call the company test or sample, it doesn't count towards your allotment for the year, and it'll help you get familiar with our system. And just as a reminder, if you are sending a link to a business owner to have them fill out the data, click your name, user profile. This link is unique to you. So it's important that you send your smart link out if you're going to have business owners fill out information. That way our system knows to put all of that data into your console. So again, if a business owner is going to fill out the information instead of you, click your name, user profile, create smart link. This gives them the ability to add the new information to your console. Now we'll begin part 2 of the onboarding process. where we will review our search for prospects feature. So if you select your name in the top right, search for prospects. This brings up a list of businesses that we have pre-valued and also provided contact details for. You can filter this list by industry, location, business name, and valuation estimates in a low and high range. I'll take you through a generic search. So you want to see all the dental practices in Boston, Massachusetts. So now on our screen here, you will see we have Boston and all of the surrounding areas. So if you're only worried about the city, you can click this plus sign. That's going to zoom us back in. You can also drag the map around to get the lists. So in this area, we have 1,102 businesses matching dental practices in this unique region. Over here on the right, we'll only ever allow you to see 50 matches at a time, and that is done by design in our system. So changing the filters to fit a more specific criteria would be the way to see all the matches. So let's add a filter for valuation. Let's say all the dental practices worth over $1 million in the Boston, Massachusetts area. So here's a list, and let's select, we'll go with this first one. So what we have here is a valuation estimate, a letter grade ranking, attached contact details, and a shortcut to search these names in LinkedIn. So what the valuation estimate means is it means this is what we think this business is worth based on publicly available data. So these aren't businesses that we've valued. These are businesses that we've used publicly available data to value. So these are just our best guesses. But we will let you know how accurate we think that figure is with these icons over here. So in this case, we have the within sight, so 55% or better probability of accuracy. So this is a decent guess. In the section below it, this is the telescope, so we have 35% or lower probability of accuracy. This just means this is essentially just darts at a dartboard. You see the telescopes. And that is in reference to the valuation estimates. The letter grade rankings represent how confident we are in the contact detail. So that means we probably have multiple sources confirming this is the appropriate contact detail. In this case, we have 2 contacts at this office. You can select these numbers to filter through them. If you select this person search, it will search the name on the screen in LinkedIn. If you select the company search, it will search the company's name on LinkedIn in a separate tab. Another effective way to use the prospecting tool is, rather than narrow it down by industry, is to run very specific location searches. So let's put in a specific location in my area. So this is sort of a zoomed in view of our downtown area. So now I've eliminated all the filters with the exception of location. So in this case now we have 53 matches, but we haven't trimmed it by industry. So if you want to get a good look at all of the businesses in an immediate area, finding a very specific address and typing that in will give you a pretty zoomed in picture of what is available in that area. One of the use cases for this is if you're going to see a current client or someone you do know, and maybe they have some other businesses around them that you'd like to at least get an idea of who's there, you can do a location search to see what other types of businesses are nearby. Now for part 3 of our onboarding process, I'm going to take you through our Success Center and Support Centers. So to get there, you would click your name, Success Center. So what this does is this brings you into our content library. We have a lot of items in here that help our users not only use our system more effectively, but also market business valuations to their core audience. So I'll start with our advisor presentations. We have 2 different PowerPoint presentations that we've built with different intended audiences. First one I'll pull up here is our advisor presentation client facing. So what this is designed for is it's created for any of our users who are approaching a business owner about why they should understand the value of their business and why business valuation is so important to them. So the audience is a business owner. This can be used in a one-on-one setting as well as if you're participating in any lunch and learns or hosting events. This is a PowerPoint presentation that can be used there. Many of the items in our Success Center have space at the end for you to brand them to yourselves. So you can put your name, your firm's name, any logos you'd like, just to make the presentation even more personal. The other PowerPoint presentation that we'll look at is our colleague-facing one.
So some of the feedback we've gotten from current users is they've had the most success leveraging BizEquity and improving their practice by leveraging centers of influence. So this PowerPoint starts out the same as the client-facing one, but the intended audience here would be somebody who works with business owners. So if you're in the insurance field, maybe you would present this to an accountant. If you're an accountant, you might present this to a wealth advisor. So this goes through a little bit of our system and also covers why business valuation is so important, and then some success stories here at the end. So colleague-facing would be used in a centers of influence discussion. We have call scripts and email examples. Both of these are just generic templates. If you're going to go the cold call, cold email approach, these give you just kind of basic scripts to work off of for why business valuation is important. Our marketing slicks are some of our most popular items. The one I see the most in the wild is this top 10 reasons for a business valuation. And just like that PowerPoint presentation, we've left space down here so you can brand this to yourself. So if you have a PDF editor, you can save this, add your contact information, your logo, whatever you feel is necessary. The other item I see a lot is our now offering business valuation. So this one's sort of to the point, especially if you're new on our system, just letting the world know and letting your audience know that you're now, capable of running business valuations. Just sort of gets the word out there. Our client-facing materials, what we get asked for the most is this fact finder. So this is our entire 7-step process inside of a PDF. So this is all the information you need to accurately run a business valuation. This is used in situations where maybe a business owner did not want to click on a smart link, but they want to go through and provide all the info. Once this gets filled out, you can then log in as yourself and type all the information in. I've also seen this used in this scenario if a business owner is coming in for a meeting, sending this to them prior, saying, hey, if you'd like to get an accurate value of your business, these are all the piece of information I would need answered. We have a preliminary valuation checklist. As I mentioned earlier, a lot of our users will leverage local chamber of commerces and go to lunch and learns and maybe host events. This gives you a way of almost pre-qualifying any people that come to any events you host before you reach out for a more formal valuation. Over here in sample reports, these are all generically branded samples with we have a few different sizes of businesses, a couple different industries. The only drawback to these samples is they do carry generic branding. So if you'd like your own logo and your name on these samples, the best recommendation I can give you is actually go through and run a sample company while you're logged in. So much like we did in step 1 of the onboarding process, go through your console, go through all the steps. That way you'll have a sample valuation with your branding on it, and it also gets you more familiar with our system. Client-facing videos. We have 2 short videos, both under 60 seconds. They're animated, just talking about why business valuation is important. I see these a lot in people's email signatures and attached to email marketing campaigns that I've seen. Now we'll get to sort of support. So when you have questions, where should you go? Under user guides, we have our entire onboarding process linked in here. So if you wanted a refresher of any of these steps, you can watch these videos. We have an FAQ, which just kind of covers our most common questions. We have our implementation checklist, so kind of the blueprint in the first 3 months of using our system. What's the best approach and schedule to be on? Now, over here in white papers, if you're someone that's a little more analytical and you're looking to learn more about business valuation, these white papers are fantastic. They're written by our Chief Valuation Officer, Scott Gabehart. Some of them are very detailed about why valuation, why it's important and what some key factors to it are. We also have some items written by some of our salespeople as well. So how to leverage centers of influence. And then the last item I'll show you is over here on the right. So it's our support center. So no matter where you are in our system, the supports inside of the success center, the support center is going to be over here on the right. This is sort of your first step for customer support questions. So it is a keyword searchable database. If you type in, keywords that you're looking for, you'll pull up any answers that have those words attached to them. Some of the answers are pretty detailed and go into a little bit about valuation. Some of them are a little bit more, short and to the point. So if you have a generic question, more than likely it can be answered within the support center. Beyond that, if you have a question that's not covered in here, or you want a further explanation, you can click this Contact Us button. This would connect you with me, and I can handle those questions from there. And if you do have questions that get into business valuation, so really specific questions about the numbers that you've run for companies, I would connect you with one of our valuation specialists. In that case, they would like to look over the financials, take a look at the work you've done, and either schedule a call or help you out via email from there. One other thing I will cover is, we talked about it a little bit in the beginning, but where the smart link is. So clicking your name, user profile. So if you have billing information attached, you can update that here. But your smart link is very specific to you. So if you're going to send a link to a business owner to have them fill out a valuation, it's imperative that you use your unique smart link. If you don't use your link, our system doesn't know where to put that company's information and it won't be visible to you. So make sure you're using your unique smart link. Some places that I've seen people place this other than just sending them to individual business owners is I've seen them in people's LinkedIn profiles. I've seen them in email signatures, things like what's your business worth, click here to find out. So SmartLink is very versatile for driving inbound leads to yourself. And that is all we have for the onboarding process. Thank you very much for watching today, and I look forward to working with you. Have a great day.